Tailgate Brewery, Orange Wheat.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I have got one, the first one I've had, from the Tailgate Brewery. They're a US based brewery and they're based in Tennessee, down in the south, the home of country and western. I think they're based in Nashville actually, which is the home of country and western and music. The label on, well, not the label, the artwork depicts some sort of pickup with a big fucking orange in the back of it. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it's the tailgate is the sort of trademark of the brewery. Not heard of these before. Picked these up from Beers of Europe. Reasonably cheap. It was a wheat beer, and I love wheat beer. It's one of my favourite styles. I'm all for experimentation with wheat beer, and when I was in America I tasted some absolutely fantastic locally brewed wheat beer. So the Yanks do know what they're doing. I mean, the Germans are the kings of wheat beer as far as I'm concerned. The Belgians are a very close second, but the Americans are doing really well. So I thought I'd try some of this out. It's not one of their core beers. Their main things are lagers and IPAs, and this is one of their sort of odd brewers. They've been around since 2014, which, as I say, is, well, for any brewery that's relatively sort of young, but they've gradually expanded around national from what I've been reading up about them, and they sound like a really good brewery. They've, it's all locally sourced like ingredients and stuff, like the malt all comes from local farmers, etc., which I think is brilliant. Especially when it's in America, because you know how they call it the land of the free, but fuck me, there's some big regulations there. I should really do an episode on how restricted the independent brewers are in the United States. It's from what I can gather, it's gradually changing, but fuck me, it is very slow. And I remember speaking to the owner of he wasn't even a brewer. He done some home brewing and stuff, but he owned a tap room. Not a tap room. He owned a brew pub that just did craft beer, and the fucking hoops he had to jump through. Lovely fella. He was only 29. He was from originally Filipino or something. Real nice fella. A place called Bigsby's Poorhouse. It was in Chicago. What a lovely fella. And of course, being English, we were like the novelty there. They treated us like kings. I went through the whole tap. I didn't walk out of there. I fucking crawled out of there. But I'm going off topic here, so let's get back to the beer. Well, it's an orange wheat beer. I've been looking on the can. There is very little detail on what goes into this. It's 5%. It's is it 330 or 355? I don't know. It doesn't say.
Well, if you don't know, just say so. Just don't stand there like a bag of cement, boy.
I'm going to have to look that up. I'm assuming it's 330 or 355. It's one of them two. It's not too far off. What I do like is I don't know if you can see that or not. The barcode is in the shape of Tennessee. Nice little touch. There's the front of the can. There is the back. As I say, if you can read that, my eyesight is fucking deteriorating like a rate of knots.
More than a man can bear.
But there it is, an orange wheat beer. So let's get it open and let's see what's going on in the can. Right, and that's just gone straight into my forehead. But even from here, I'm getting orange. Yeah. It actually smells like a subdued can of orange. But you really have to sniff it. I mean, I opened it up and I got a big waft of orange, but I'm not getting anything now at all. Well, maybe a little bit of orange, but that's about it. This is 60% wheat, so it's going to be like a true wheat beer. Let's get it in the glass. Well, that is orange. I'm starting to think they've put orange juice or orange colour in that, because that ain't normal. Don't know if you can see that or not, but it's very, very orange. If I hold it up to the light, you can't see it here. Believe it or not, it's quite dark out. I know the light, where I've changed the camera angle, I'm facing the window now, but it's quite dark in here. If I turn around here, I'm not going to point the camera, but it's quite dark. But that is orange, believe me. On the nose, it smells a bit too orangey to be natural, if you know what I mean. It's telling me about birth defects from the Surgeon General and nothing about the ingredients. Well, this might come as a shock, but I'm not planning on having a kid. No, it doesn't really. It contains malted barley. No, it doesn't really give any indication as to what is in here. Maybe that's one to look up later. I mean, I tend to look up more about the brewery than I do about what's in the beer. As I said, I don't like looking at reviews before I do a beer, because I don't want anything influencing me. It's just going to be coming from what I taste. There's fucking beer all over the place here with that, so I opened up. Yeah, so let's just see what this is all about. Cheers. Right. Yeah, you can tell there's a lot of wheat in that. It's very full-bodied, nice flavour to it, and it's got a lot of wheat beer characteristics. But there is a hell of a lot of orange in that. I don't know for certain, but I'm guessing that this has been flavoured with orange juice. It's a wheat beer of sorts that's just had a load of orange juice poured in there. But saying that, you do get some of the Weiss beer or wheat beer characteristics. When I'm just holding that up to my nose, through the orange, I mean there's masses of orange, I am getting some of the spice, the banana and clove is coming through there. But it's just, well, I'm just about to say it's overpowered by the orange flavour, but it's not. I've let it stand for a bit to just, warm or get down to room temperature a little bit. It's not, it's still cold, but it's just come out of the fridge. Initial thoughts were, yeah, it's just alcoholic fucking orange juice, but it's not. I'm getting more of the wheat beer characteristics from it now. There's a bit of a sourness on the back end of it as well, which is really strange. It's, yeah, this orange. The orange is the dominant flavour, but if you can see past the orange, there are other subtle flavours underneath that. And that last mouthful, there was even a hint of sourness, which, you know, it's quite unusual. It's throwing me. There's like sweet orange, but there's like a sour back end, which I wasn't getting before when it was really cold. I quite like it. Before, I was ready to just pan it and say, oh, they've just thrown a load of orange in there, and it's, you know, it's just, they've basically brewed a mediocre wheat beer and thrown a load of orange juice in there just to make it sort of drinkable. But if you actually sit down and let it warm up a little bit, I mean, this is cold, as I say, and I do like my wheat beers cold. That's how they're supposed to be drunk, out of the fridge. They're supposed to be a summer drink. They're supposed to be very refreshing, you know, and it possibly does kill a lot of the sort of subtle flavours of a wheat beer. But I've let this warm up a bit, and I'm getting a whole lot more flavour out of it. As I say, there's the orange, but there's sourness underneath, which is putting me in mind of a Berliner with some orange overtones in it. It's nice, you know. As I say, it's more than meets the eye here. Yeah, not bad at all. I've gone from ready to fucking pan this and just say, oh, it's the Yanks brewing a fucking mediocre wheat beer and throwing some orange in there to just disguise all the bad flavours, to actually, you know, let it cool down a little bit, and I'm getting a hell of a lot of complex flavours there. I'm getting some sourness to it. I'm getting sour aromas, sour sort of back end on it, subtle, but it's still there, and I think that's coming from the yeast that they've used. But I like it. I could drink a lot of this. It's very nice. It'd have to be at the right temperature. Couldn't be ice cold. It needs to be chilled. That's what I think you'll get the most flavours out of it, when it's chilled. But it's nice. So what's the verdict? Yeah, first one from the Tailgate Brewery from Tennessee. I think this is not one of their core beers. I think it's one of the ones that they've sort of done, you know, off the bat. I was ready to pan it. I was ready to really sort of have a go and say, oh, it's the sort of thing supermarkets do over here, where they just brew some mediocre beer, throw a load of fruit juice in it, and call it some, you know, orange flavoured IPA. But it's not. If you let it cool down, you actually get some really nice subtle flavours, some subtle bitterness, some subtle sourness as well. There's more sourness than bitterness, and it puts me in mind, as I say, of a Berliner Weiss. It's got the mouthfeel of an half decent wheat beer, I will say that, but it's nice. I do like this. I'm going to give that an 8.5 out of 10. And Beers of Europe do this, and it's quite cheap as well. Try it, because it depends on the temperature you drink it. If you drink it chilled, you're going to get all them flavours, and you really have to savour it to appreciate them. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10, and recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.